What up? What up? Namaste. Hope you're having a good weekend. I actually was sitting here and thinking to myself, you know, we don't talk about the basics enough in Buddhism or Christianity. And if any of you have read Suzuki Roshi's book, Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind, then you know what I'm talking about. If you've actually read that book. What's up, Jeff Ocean? I just bring the truth of this moment at any given time. That's all I can ever offer, you know. But I just realized that, and I know that because of my own insight and because of the efforts of my teachers to help educate me, spiritual teachers. So we all come from a lineage. I'm good, man. Just enjoying my family, enjoying my recovery from my near-death experience, enjoying starting a new business, enjoying watching my daughter walking and starting to talk and become just a beautiful, beautiful human being. Like, you know, when Buddhism says to people, if I teach you how to get out of your own way, life will naturally unfold for you the way it's supposed to. And you learning to accept the things you cannot change, courage to change things you can, and the wisdom to know the difference is that's wisdom. Uh, the first walk-in clinic in West Billings, Montana, and for sure the first African American owned medical clinic in probably eastern Montana. If you don't count the fact that the black doctor I worked with in Glasgow, who was from Alaska, worked for the hospital. He didn't put up his own independent brand corporate name. So I'm following the tradition of many who've come before me. But on this side of Billings, there is no clinic like that. And the people who live all around me have given me feedback, and they're like, "No, there's nowhere around here." So we definitely think you're making a good move. So since they all have their own businesses and their own millionaires, I'll take their feedback as a positive that I'm making moves in the right direction because I listen to those around me and I make adjustments. So I don't know how many only three people in here. I don't know how much Buddhism you guys have been exposed to, but the conversation I had yesterday with my fellow Dharma brother Leonard, who I also studied jujitsu with. I know he went to Navy SEAL training and washed out of buds, but stress fractures up and down both legs. I'm not going to tell you I wouldn't have washed out because I don't know if I can tolerate that kind of pain. I've just had shin splints before, and I was like, fuck this, just from running a lot when I was younger. Yeah, my plan is to do what I've done for for 30 years, closer to my house, basically. It's I don't believe in reinventing the wheel, man. I'm old school. I do what works. I do what I'm gifted in, and I do what my neighborhood, society, country benefits from as much as myself. I think that's the way real patriots work. It's not just about us. Because to be honest with you, I ain't got to open up no fucking clinic. I mean, I make money, bro. As a medical director, where I'm working at, it's actually a pretty good learning curve as far as doing it this way because this is an older way of doing it without a bunch of physical plant, just a bare bones basic clinic with exam rooms, walk-in reception, old school, walk in, just see the doctor without an appointment, And if you want an appointment for later, that can definitely be arranged. So it's really a hybrid clinic. It's a hybrid because I'm an internist and I have that skill set. So why would I not give that to the people who want uh, that service from me? So we'll see. I've been a businessman for over 10 years now. So just a natural progression, natural learning curve. And I think that's also what life is. It's like when you naturally have to move on to the next lesson, holding on to the old thing is what Buddhism would teach us. Definitely keeps us sick, keeps us spiritually unfit, spiritually unhealthy. Um, a lot of people don't even consider Buddhism a religion. They consider it a philosophy, an approach towards existence. To put it in a small box, like it's religion, is what some minds have to do to make sure they never have to actually do the work of investigating the thing. And they can put it in a small little box, put it on the shelf with the other pretty things in their mind that they think they know, but they don't really know. But they're pretty. It's like that Rolex you never wear. Put it on the shelf. It's pretty. I never wear it, you know. And I would never give it away. God forbid that. It's too expensive, right? And, I would never want anybody to see it. And I don't really even understand what I got, but I need to hide it up here, on the shelf where I'm entertained by it. That's how a lot of people approach life, man. Everything is a cursory view. Everything is a superficial glazing over of. Um, and then because of the way the West has been raised, pop culture teaches you that you don't have to actually, spend a lot of time with any one thing if you really want to master it and understand it. My experience has been that the journey of the mind through academics, through spirituality, has been the most amazing journey of my life. Way more amazing than going to Spain and spending a lot of time in Southeast Asia where I found my wife, or, jumping out of airplanes for hobbies. Yeah, minimalist. But, everybody comes according to Buddhist teachings with a different set of karmic obstacles, different karma, even for identical twins. Therefore, a lot of what it is us having to look deeply within ourselves and our environment to find out what obstacles we, in particular, are dealing with. And if you can do that consistently throughout your life, you will still have problems, but the solutions and the amount of suffering that you inflict on those around you while you solve those problems will be minimal. And anyone who claims to be in a family of saints, Christians, Buddhists, who strive for that perfection of the mind and soul, how could you lie to yourself by constantly putting your mind on the minimal setting, feed, fuck, fight or flight, entertainment, and then convincing yourself that that's the only work that is required? I mean, it's a process to stay in a delusional mind state. It's a process to let ignorance be your main driving force in this existence. Okay. When I say ignorance, I mean knowing something is necessary, but refusing to learn it because in your mind, you have enough. You have enough. You're satiated. You're satisfied. I had one piece of Popeye's chicken. I had a thigh and a biscuit. I don't want the beans. I don't want the green beans. I don't want the red beans and rice. You can keep that. The problem is the red beans and rice has different nutritional aspects than the meat. And if you don't eat it, sooner or later you're gonna die from malnutrition. Same thing with spirituality. It's no different. Christianity talks about spiritual death. Uh, I'm trying to think of a Buddhist correlate for spiritual death. Buddhist correlate for spiritual death would be getting lost in your own mind, not being able to navigate your own mind using the wisdom of your ancestors to safely navigate your own mind, which includes the mind that survives death, comes to you when you manifest in the material planes of earth or wherever, because there are other places, no doubt. I doubt the soul is restricted to this little bitty ball around a little bitty sun, around one galaxy in trillions of galaxies. Come on, come on. Especially since I know my ancestors discussed star systems, Orion's belt. We all know this history. A lot of us do. If you study the ancient Egyptians, come on, man. You have to really try hard to remain ignorant. Okay, and karmically, that comes with a certain amount of weight. You can postpone the karma for a certain period of time with fancy footwork, finagling, being born into a privileged class on the earth, but there's no guarantee that each birth will be one of a life of privilege. What's up, Johnny Bravo? Namaste, bro. Shouldn't those teachings be open source? Because past beliefs they are open source. I've learned a lot of shit about my Buddhist approach towards life online, reading shit off the internet, listening to videos of these great teachers on the internet, researching in Google. What is a bodhisattva? What are the three jewels of Buddhism? Right? What are the four noble truths? Oh, I know who you is, Johnny Bravo. What's up, bruh? Yeah, I remember your face. I remember your face. Didn't you hit me up on Facebook too, bruh? Did you finally find me on Facebook? Long time no see, bro. You know the Periscope fan. We moving slowly. Hey, you see what I got going today, bro? This what I'm about today in that GTA action, man. I want that GTA action today, baby. Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. We hooked up on IG. That's good. Yeah, long as we hooked up on something other than this app, because I don't know if this app is built for that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's built for that. But the fuck. Yeah, I don't. I really put a lot of weight on people's own personal karmic journey, where they're at. Oh, I didn't know they had a private GTA server, but I do so enjoy blowing people up in the public server. So sniping y'all with them explosive rounds and blowing y'all's jets up when you fly at me with explosive sniper bullets. That's just pure entertainment, man. That really is. And I just wish I could be there in your house to look at your face when you get shot out of the sky on your oppressor by a dude with a sniper rifle on his yacht. Like, there's a contradiction in terms somewhere. Man, virtual reality is a lot of fun. Okay, it's a lot of fun. Oh, they changed everything around. Oh, damn. I might just check some of those out. So those are the notifications I be getting. So y'all see I got that. Y'all see that suit I'm wearing? Huh? This is my yacht. Oh no, this is my submarine. I'm in a submarine. I think I'm first person. Yeah. All you submarine boys out there, what's up? U.S. Navy. My dad was a Marine. So I don't know how many of you cats know the story of the Buddha. I'll try to condense it down. He was born. Um, I always forget the specific name of the kingdom, but it was somewhere in the foothills of Nepal. His father was a king, so he was born a prince. Yeah, we'll get to it, bro. We'll get to it. I mean, I mean, it sounds like you already know what to do, bro. Like honestly, like the more you talk, the more I'm thinking like, "Shit, you don't really need me, bro. Like, I just basically buy certain cryptos based on the history, the description of what they claim to offer, and then I just watch the graphs. Put it like this: when I wake up in the morning, if my account has more money that the next day than the day before, I don't do shit. If I wake up, if I wake up for 2 or 3 days and them shits ain't moving up like this, then something finna get changed around. I don't know what I may sell this one and buy more of this one, you know, based on the graphs. I mean, my background is in chemistry and math and sciences. Like I don't do shit for emotional gratification. I want to see the motherfucking paperwork. Show me what the paperwork say, and squash all that other shit, bro. Like I don't know what other people be talking about, but I want to see the paperwork. As simple as that. But why wouldn't I be like that? My whole career has been based on analyzing the paperwork, making decisions from that, and then watching the outcomes, which are generally good. But you know, we can't change fate. We can't change the laws of nature. But to me, investing is no different. It's evidence based, and you actually develop your own approach. Like I really don't give a damn about mining or crypto. I mean, why would I do that? I mean, it's expensive. I can buy an equal amount that will appreciate in value in the future if I buy the right one. It's basically Generation XYZ stock market. Let's just call it what it is. Crypto is Gen X, Y, and Z's stock market. We have disrupted the world markets by shifting a huge amount of our assets over to crypto. So we're basically telling the banks this right here, and slowly they're trying to get in and manipulate and buy up crypto. But that's the game. When you bob, somebody else adjusts because they know you're going to weave next, and they try to throw that overhand right or left jab at the right place to hit the target. This is a dance that will go on forever. It will not stop. I'm not saying that sentient beings on a planet always will live in chaos. There are ages of enlightenment we go through, but inevitably, from my understanding, souls evolve or they keep going around the wheel of samsara. Okay, that's what I believe. Switch from gold. Yeah, Nixon took us off the gold standard. He took us off the gold standard because he didn't want to pay. I think it was France. France wanted their gold back. It's like, where's the gold? And Nixon panicked and said, we can't have it. International corporations and businesses manipulating the American dollar. I therefore choose to end the American gold backed dollar and go to a non-backed system so I can buy as much shit as I want, all the guns and missiles and sarin fucking gas. He didn't have sarin gas, of course. And prostitutes and pimps that I choose to with your dollars. God bless America. I shall return. And that's pretty much the history of America in a nutshell. No need to talk about it ad nauseum. It's a waste of fucking time. People gonna be what they gonna be, and they gonna do what the fuck they gonna do, right? Oh, I'm gonna break it down regardless, baby. Land, by air, by sea. We gonna see what it do, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. It just man, yesterday I had a conversation with a brother that I trained with, and we train in jujitsu together. He's a Navy. I told you about he's a Navy guy. You know, but here's the deal. I've been knowing him for a long time, and he's been searching for a long time. Okay, he's very intelligent, very intuitive. Um, and it's interesting to see how mine and his relationship as two aspirants on the path, as two stream enters on the spiritual path, to keep crossing each other's paths. Okay, and then he's a young, well, middle-aged white male, but he looks really young. Ex-Navy, pretty much a loner, kind of like really eccentric if you don't know him. Definitely good on the mat, jiu-jitsu. You probably don't want to run up on him, underestimating him on the street because he'll fuck you up. But he's a small dude. He's a little dude like me. I'm actually, I think, a little bit larger than him, tall as far as height. But the conversation we had yesterday, which lasted about 4 5 hours straight, was the whole conversation was just Dharma. And see, that's the beautiful part that I think people don't understand, that when you may have to wait a while. It may be once every 10 years that you actually get to sit with your Dharma brothers and sisters, unless you go to a Sangha on a regular basis. And even then, you're going to connect with some people differently based on where they're at. So you're either teaching or learning. Both processes are always going on. But I can tell you that the conversation with a fellow on the path, you can feel the mind elevation that goes on. Okay, when you're sitting with another brother on the path or sister on the path, and the conversation is every single second, each human being is attempting to be a genuine version of what they are in that moment. Those are different conversations. Those kind of conversations are Sangha. It's the reinforcement, the three jewels in Buddhism: Dharma, the truth; Sangha, the group of people that we practice with, like a church, and the Buddha. And each one of us is a Buddha. So the truth of the matter is, Sangha, the three jewels, are always with me. I said that yesterday, and then I found a quote from, it was somewhere this morning. It was a Buddhist, I think, monk that wrote this. And the very last line he wrote was basically, because the three jewels are always with you at any time, even if you're not with another person. And I think a lot of Buddhists don't catch that point. Like, they don't realize that the three jewels are never inaccessible. It depends on your mind state. I mean, so for instance, the three jewels in Buddhism are the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. The Buddha, each one of us is a Buddha. People in Christianity call it Christ consciousness. Each one of us is a Christ. We are part of that family. Okay. We are not bastardized children with no paperwork. We are the energy that created that is a direct lineage from our Father in heaven and Mother in heaven. There is no break in eternity like that. It's not like, oh, let's turn the TV off for a little while, come back. Now we got humans. Like, no, that's not how it works. Everything in reality, according to Buddhism, is empty because it doesn't have an intrinsic existence, and it depends on another thing to give it, define it. That is the doctrine of dependent co-arising in Buddhism, and it is the cornerstone of emptiness that we talk about in Eastern philosophy. It's not nihilism; it's just stating you can't. There's it doesn't exist in the universe that you can do it on your own. That's a huge, huge chasm between Christian thought and Buddhist thought because of that fact, that we do not believe that anything has its own intrinsic ability to be just that. Christians would say something like God created everything. So the relationship there would be between God and the thing that he or she or it created. Well, Jeff, I tell you this. I was the only black kid in my class for most of grade school. I was usually on the honor roll. My father was the first black policeman in my hometown, and his son was a good student. Me, usually I was the only black boy. It'd be like X number of white kids, and be me. My whole life, I've had to walk on a path that has been the one that I see in front of me that's available to me for me to grow and learn. It may not have been what I, in my mind, would have picked, but that's cool. I went back home. Everybody looks like me. Everybody talks like me. Everybody walks like me. I think that's America. We've always lived in two worlds like that, different cultures, the melting pot. But some of us are taxed differently in the melting pot. When you have to really forge ahead on your own, I hear my daughter on the baby cam. It teaches you a certain amount of fearlessness and independence, and actually is the very first lesson in egolessness. Nana, okay, never mind. I'll see if you're here. Egolessness requires you to see that you by yourself are no different than those around you, and the relationship that you have with them is an extension of God's reality. Period. There's a connection between you and each person, and that starts with the relationships that we have as children. You know, you don't have to really believe in Buddhism. I'm gonna tell you why. Because the statements that Buddhism makes are scientific facts. And anybody that looks into their own mind honestly, and then looks into nature, cannot come up with any other explanation for reality. More basic. So when Buddha says impermanence, it says that nothing is the same at each moment to moment. Who's going to argue with that? A fool, somebody that's completely fucking delusional. Because what else do you see out here? When you look, you can't ignore what you see with your own eyes. The second phase is you can't ignore what you feel in your heart, and you can't ignore what logic and truth bring to you on a plate. But everybody is fed according to their constitution in the spiritual world. We don't feed prime rib to babies in the spiritual world. Reality doesn't. Reality doesn't. Okay. Capitalism, it is too impermanent. The great illusion of mind is that this stuff is permanent. And it also, the great delusion is that this stuff requires our full attention and is the most important thing that we need to learn in this life, this precious human life, as Patrul Rinpoche and the Buddhist saints have called it, this precious, rare human life. And if you actually even can fathom that, if you can even taste that truth to the smallest inkling, that's a seed. What if this human existence is precious? Because according to my science, we started out as cloud dust, and then we formed into planets, stars, organic material, and then we crawled ourselves out of the oceans with flippers. You know, yeah, Christianity was influenced by Aristotelian thought from the Greeks. So of course it came to what it is now. I mean, when you when you separate truth from truth and put each one into a separate when you separate science and spirituality, both of these are truth. But now you force people to learn this system separately from this system. People don't put the dots together as easily. It's just as simple as that. I don't need to make it any more complicated because that's what it is. Period. When you take people and make them ignorant willfully, separate the truth out into different disciplines. Say you're privileged. You're from the Brahmin class. I'm from the warrior caste. That's third from the top. The royal caste, the Brahmin class, which is the priest. Then you have the warriors, which is my family. Then below that, you have everybody else: the business owners, hotel owners, the untouchables that deal with sewer and trash and feces and all that. This is the way the East Indians in their system ranked everyone according to caste. And they said you were born into the caste of your karma. You worked on being in that caste. The difference is that when the Buddha came, he said everything's impermanent. The caste you're born in can change as easily as the weather. If you're aware of the modifications that are happening to you, yoga, I told my friend this yesterday. I asked him, has he read the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali? This is the other thing that people don't realize. I can get the same truth from reading the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which is one of the founders of yoga. And yoga is not just about exercising and tight yoga pants. I gotta always say that. It's far deeper than that, far more profound and life changing than that. But anyway, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali give me the same wisdom that is contained in Buddhism, the same wisdom that is contained in Taoism. Now I got three systems of thought from the East. I mean, religion is man made, you know that. What you want is logic. You want the logic and the wisdom to be able to see through, or you don't. The thing is, this is the thing. Everybody's heart of hearts, only they know. So I know in my heart of hearts, if my main motivation in this life is to serve others, nobody else can answer that question but me. How I touch, taste, interact with, think, everything is flavored by that heart of hearts motivation. Everything. It's like you putting salt in the fucking ice cream. Well, actually, you do put salt in the ice, but Tabasco sauce in the motherfucking Haagen Dazs. When you do that, it's like this flavor. I can't make it Haagen Dazs because the motivation is, as you said, very selfish. Every major religion on the planet Earth teaches the lesson of love, the lesson of selflessness, living Buddha, living Christ. You would need religion, but what you're really saying, if you're talking about the inspired minds of the Greeks, of our ancestors, is truth. Because we're taught that truth maintains self balance. When you look out in nature, nature doesn't need any government for my trees to know it's springtime and now they're coming back. My grass didn't need some you know judicial fucking decision to decide, oh, it's kind of late in the year, but since the ice has gone away, we'll start growing now. It all happens just according to the laws and proclivities that have been put there when the foundations of the universe were laid. But then you get the human mind, which the Buddha found out is completely modified from its original source, and it starts making all these conclusions that create imbalance. Simple as that. Okay. Yoga is about preventing the modifications to your true core self. And from that, you have a possible reality whereby human beings are making decisions based on truth and what is, and not what is being given to us through the ego filter. The ego filter, it does not go away without great, extraordinary, otherworldly effort. No, no. If you think you're getting me off track, not to insult you, but you probably don't understand what I'm saying. I'm just I'm not trying to be an asshole. But I'm a teacher, bro. Okay, I'm a teacher. If I sit in front of a classroom and I say something, the feedback from the class tells me they either understand that they've experienced this, because this is experiential on a level of mind, or they haven't. Okay, the conversation I had with my brother yesterday, last, like I said, it lasted all day. We were at my friend's house, sitting around his swimming pool that was full of old water because he hadn't drained it yet. But anyway, the conversation, interesting that when Dharma brothers talk, and I'm not, and this is not again aimed at anybody particular. I'm just telling you what happened. Period. Each one of you will make your own decisions. Cause and effect will dictate what you see in front of you. Your surroundings at any given time are an indication of your mind's processes, the decisions that you've made. That can't be denied. You can always say somebody else helped me along, but ultimately we have a decision. You know, Nelson Mandela sat in prison for how long and maintained his sanity? People are capable of great things. We all belong to that same family. What I hear people doing is trying to rationalize the ego based existence, which is fine. It doesn't need to be rationalized because it predominates when nothing is done. If you want ego based reality to predominate, just do nothing and go along with the status quo. And you will be guaranteed to find out at the end of the day that something is missing. We all know what that something is. It's called suffering in Buddhism. But the suffering is more of a dissatisfaction no matter what. I can have all the money, I can have all the power, I can have all the jewels, women, gold, whatever you desire, right? Solomon found this out. Solomon said, vanity of vanities. He said the only purpose a man has is to be righteous and pursue God. The Buddhists say the same thing in a different way. They call it the ego. They call it samsaric existence, a suffering that is created by human ignorance. Nobody's going to deny that if they have any sense in their head. The only problem is each human being thinks, but not me. Or they say that they believe they are part of the problem, but they minimize how much of a role they play in shaping their own life's path, their own reality, and the effect that they have on other people. Because we're all brothers and sisters in this universe. We're all connected in ways that are far too profound for us to realize. The threads of karma are incomprehensible. Okay. Uh, so the core truths that dictate how we come to exist, period, if you don't base your life and logic and decisions on the core truths, how can you ever come to a life of harmony and balance, which is intrinsic to our universe? Our solar system keeps itself in a perfect, harmonic. The first philosophies dealt with this when they seen the perfect movement of the spheres, seemingly by magic. They seen the harmony of the universe. They seen the balance. This is an observation that is ancient, and that is what inspired many of them to look at themselves when they finally realized that they are an extension of this reality, of this universe. For man to take himself out of this reality and make himself a separate ego based entity is one of the biggest flaws of 19th century, 20th century Eastern and Western thought. And an attempt to maintain and fix that is present in our most holy, sacred of observations and writings from all of our saints, all of our bodhisattvas, all of our holy men renounced for a reason. Renunciation is for a reason. Renunciation means, like you said, being a minimalist is for a specific purpose. In and of itself, it means nothing. Okay. Oh yeah, I remember that conversation. Yeah. Yeah. I remember that conversation. I mean, every day, man. I'm sure since that conversation you've learned an enormous amount. And I have too. I mean, it's inevitable if your purpose on the earth is to learn, there's plenty of food and material if you want it, right? But I feel like we have a responsibility once we learn to share and spread it, because that is really honestly what the truth is. The truth is that we're all connected, and this facade of separation along skin color and money and class, it's so infantile that it almost makes you want to break off into tears when you think about how ignorant we really act as human beings. But it's a collective ignorance that everyone is participating in and everyone is choosing. Okay, so if the majority of human beings thought like this about truth, which is an ancient way of thinking about it, you can see a drastically different reality. You don't have to be a scientist to envision that reality. If people did unto others as they would have them do unto, you know, do unto others as you have them do unto you. The golden rule. The golden rule is dharma. You don't call it that in Christianity, but it's truth. Truth that surpasses anything that intellectually you could fathom or come up with, and your intuition and your subconscious. All of your being resonates with that truth. You don't need any preacher to tell you that. You don't need any philosophical books to tell you that. Within your core being, in your heart of hearts, in your mind of minds, you know this to be the truth. And yet, and still, from time to time, those of us that are not aware, this is where awareness comes in. Notice I'm talking about Buddhism, but I'm not talking about Buddhism, right? Because you guys need to see the universal principles. And as a Westerner, what the universe obviously knows is that if I gift this young man with this wisdom, being born in the 20th century as a Westerner, he is going to see it from a different perspective, but come up with the same observations and the same truth, which is how the universe works. Given these observations, because they're always there, the truth is always here. What it really takes is for a person to just pay attention and get off their own suffering for a little while. As long as we're just dealing with our own suffering, and we think we're isolated in this universe and nobody understands, I gotta get what I can get while I can get it. That attitude leads to one thing, man: more suffering. Period. That experiment has been done ad nauseum for a long time with human beings, and every single human being born feels a need to repeat that experiment. that's what really that's the amazing part of it. It's like, how fucking dumb are we? I mean, I hate to say it like that, but I am a Westerner, and part of me, this is how I feel. Like, how fucking stupid are we, man? Like, we want to talk like we're the most grandiose fucking tip of the sword in the universe and all this bullshit. And the animals can go out there amongst themselves and create harmony and balance. The wolves won't kill too many sheep, and the sheep, they will reach an equilibrium without any human beings. Introduce a human being to the equation, and shit gets tilted topsy turvy, and the planet damn near the oceans are fucking dying, and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, because mankind has knowledge of self. Okay, that knowledge of self comes with a certain amount of responsibility. As in the Old Testament, the snake said, God doesn't want you to eat the apple because he knows you will be like him and see truth. The snake was not lying. Okay, the only thing the snake said wrong in the Old Testament was what he omitted. He, she, it omitted, which was that you are complete in yourself in this moment. That's the other truth that the snake didn't speak. So by omission, the snake was a liar. A lot of you guys think you have to speak some lies into existence. Your silence is also a lie. When you see injustice in the world and you sit back and you numb your mind a little bit with entertainment, with drugs, with your own family and what they're doing, whatever you use to numb yourself to the afflictions that afflict the rest of humanity, that's your poison. That's the klesha that is affecting your mind and preventing your advancement up the spiritual ladder. That's rather obvious, but The most profound truths are always rather obvious. Why would they not be? It's called the truth. It means it's sticking right there in your face. It's written on every atom, every stone, every tree, every molecule in the universe. Talk about fractal. That's it. You don't get more fractal than that. So it takes an extraordinary effort to remain ignorant for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Even the best of the best can't do it. In the Bible, who was it? Paul and Saul. Yeah, he saw the light eventually after he had slaughtered how many Christians? I mean, he was a straight serial killing, murdering sack of shit. That's what he was. Okay, make no mistake about that. In the Bible, Saul was a murdering sack of shit. Okay, on the way to Damascus, something happened. He had what we call a spiritual experience. So Buddhism would say, karmically, he wasn't as bad as you thought he was. There was already some work that had been done on his self previously in other lifetimes, and you just didn't know it. Probably born in the warrior caste. The warrior caste, in my opinion, if redirected, can easily attain insight. Because to be a warrior, you have to understand you're going to sacrifice yourself for the benefit of others. And you have to understand skill because a warrior requires skill. No, God didn't do genocide. That was man doing genocide and blaming God for it. I guarantee you. But, but, if you read the Bhagavad Gita, yeah, I doubt if God's a man. It's probably a woman. But to anthropomorphize God is also, I just need to be honest with you. This is an infantile view of God that people on the spiritual path that have dedicated more than others. This is America, right? If I put in more work than you, according to America's values, I deserve more benefit, more insight, more currency than you. That's what America teaches. Okay, so if I'm putting blood on altar, making the sacrifice, doing the work, I'm supposed to have insights into the nature of things that another person does not have. I'm supposed to see truth on a deeper, more fundamental level than another person who has not done the work. So America can either quit being hypocritical and evil and lying about what it believes in, or it can demonstrate it. Because without demonstrating it, it does not exist. It's not real. If you know how to do a cartwheel, then you can do a cartwhel. If you don't know how, you try and bust your ass and then, say, hey, I don't know how to do a fucking cartwheel. Can you show me? It's just that simple, man. You know, but these things that are impermanent, that pass away, man puts so much weight on them and so much importance that it's an intoxicant like a drug. Man is intoxicated with his or her own five senses. So back to the Buddha. When the Buddha saw old age, sickness, and death, he was a prince. He asked his assistant, will these things happen to me? And the assistant said, yes, Lord. You too shall grow old. You too shall get sick one day. And you too shall cease to exist in this form. And because of the karma the Buddha had accumulated up until that point, those words had a profound effect on him. So this is what you guys need to realize when we say in the Bible, we're planting the seeds in the parable of the sower of the seeds. Some seed falls on ground that isn't ready. Some seed falls on ground, it sprouts a little bit, then it dies. Some seed falls on ripe ground, fertilized wet ground with sunlight, and it sprouts. Buddhism will call that soil that's fertilized with sunlight karmically ripe. Okay, karmically ripe for the Buddha in that lifetime to hear the truth one more time after hearing it thousands of times. And that's when the seed popped. Okay? That's when the seed popped. Because think about it. You can tell people the truth about anything. About anything. Your car, a table, their sickness or illness, their own medical conditions. If they're not ready to receive truth, you might as well be talking to a rock. You might as well be talking to a rock. We know how this goes. Okay? So we're all familiar with the phenomena of this person is ready. Now they have the demeanor, the patience, the maturity, the physical and mental skill level to receive what I'm giving. And that's why the adepts of old were not allowed to advance past their level. This is where the levels of masonry comes from. Level, first three levels, but there's many more. 33 and a third or something like that. I'm not a mason, but these systems are based on an ancient prototype archetype that I do understand, the Egyptian mystery schools. But it was the study of everything. In mystery schools, you had to study science and philosophy and what we would call spirituality. It was all combined into one course. So the student wasn't lacking for insight. So if you think about it, in today's age, people choose what trade they want to do. Okay? They choose what they want to do. It's completely ego based how we do it. And so, how can they have the proper knowledge and curricula and wisdom if they have ignored the words of our ancestors and our saints and our bodhisattvas and our sages who have told us that to access this level of knowledge, you have to go beyond what you think you know, what you've done in the past, let go of everything that you think you are, and die to self. That's what Christianity says. Buddhism says the same exact thing in a different way. Buddhism says you are dying to self in each moment. You just don't realize it. Open up your mind and see it. See impermanence in yourself, in your physical, mental, and spiritual self. It will become an anchor and a foundation for all the spiritual growth that you do after that. So when the Buddha heard about old age, sickness, and death, the seed sprouted. Then the story goes he left the castle, left his wife, left his child, went to the woods, and became a yogi. So all Buddhists are yogis. Yoga is the equivalent of learning the scientific method if you're a scientist. For a person on a spiritual path, this is what yoga is. It is the tools, the necessary wisdom and knowledge to gain deeper insights and to become what they are, what is, and not what they think in their delusional, infantile, immature, undeveloped, selfish mind processes. Okay? So, what you see in the martial arts, a person wearing a black belt, life and death, that's about sacrifice. When you see a martial artist on the mat willing to get an arm or leg broken to learn a process, a martial arts dojo is the same as a sangha or a holy place. Because sacrifices, we enter a contract with our teacher. I'm willing to make whatever sacrifice is necessary to learn this art. Where do you think that came from? You think that came from secular human beings? Or can you not see a spiritual basis for what happens in the warrior caste? Because I told you it's third from the top in India. Royal class, priests, warriors. That's how it works. The Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was a warrior, prince. And don't forget, Krishna told him to go do his duty, which was kill his brethren. So when you say God has been killing people, well, go to Hinduism. Apparently, life and death to God is just flipping a coin. And he doesn't get that excited about it. Why would he, she, or it? From the standpoint of absolute reality, why would I get excited about death? Each person on the path, including myself, that has experienced this phenomenon called dying to self, dying in each moment, because that's what's really happening, to taste any amount of that water is the most refreshing ambrosia you will ever taste in your life. More so than your bank account, more so than how many houses you got, yachts, women, men. To taste that ambrosia, finally, to see the soul and mind connect and experience it through your physical processes and see finally through the veil what what would I what would replace that, as Solomon would say, and what compares to that when you look back on an enlightened being, the lifetimes you've spent living in delusion, living in falsehood, living thinking things were one way when they were actually another way, lifetimes of basking in wealth and decadence. One more lifetime, one more lifetime to not know the complete truth. But see, sooner or later, you're going to find a person like me out here who's from the family, and we're going to speak truth. At that point, ain't no more deluding yourself. You've heard it, and it resonates like a bell. Everything I'm saying resonates with each one of you like a bell. How do I know this? Because I've lived within myself, researched and looked within myself, because I know that is what we share, that common insight, because we're both human. And because it resonates with me at that level, it also resonates with you at that level if I'm living in the truth. If I see truth, uncut, unbiased, untainted, unflipped, skipped, ripped, pimped, then it will resonate. I don't have to go out and test it a million times to make a few skeptics satisfied. That's not my job. My job is simply to be part of my family, the Sangha, right? So the Buddha went to the woods and became a yogi. And through the austerities, if that's the right word, through the practices of denying the physical body, fasting, deep meditation, living in the woods with the wild animals, and meditating for years, he reached levels of mental clarity that some of us will not reach in this life through a lot of effort, but that was his own karma. That's the point where he was through his previous manifestations. And so the insight that he had was that no matter how much he denied the physical body, it always, the ego, whatever we call it, always returned at some point, because you can't starve yourself enough to keep it that way for all eternity. That is a basic, profound insight as a human being. And the thing is that after somebody has said it, everybody can claim to know it, but you weren't the first one to say it. You weren't the first one to say this willow tree bark can be used as aspirin and lower my fever. You can't take credit away from the first. It's not the American way. We always reward the first. The firstborn in a family has a special place. Do we not recognize the head as the organizer of the human form? Right? Every experience contains within it the seeds of both positive and negative karma. How the experience turns out is based on the conditions that are available at that point in time and the mind state of the perceiver of those events. Pure, pure, beautiful science and philosophy that comes from the mouth of babes. Unless ye be as a child, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. We make it complicated because that's what we do. And we justify with our intellects. Look, I ain't got to show people my IQ card because my son who's autistic only speaks truth. That's his ailment. My oldest son. That's the disease of autism. He sees fundamental truth in everything he does, every interaction he has. The ego, interestingly, is not developed in autistic children the way it is in us normies. Normies. You know what I think about normies. Okay. If someone who supposedly has a low IQ and is not talented and skilled in the ways of the world can only speak truth based on his observations, what benefit is cleverness? In this moment, I am not in physical pain. I do not need food or water. I have shelter over my head. How many houses can I live in at any one time? How many cars can I drive? Right? How many women in my harem can I sleep with in any moment? If I was a Saudi Arabian prince back in the whatever century. The thing of it is this: nobody can do the work for you. These insights into the basic nature of our reality have to be gained by each individual. And each one of us works on a level of ego that we're not aware of. It's actually easier sometimes for your friends and those around you, maybe to see it, but a person who's truly on the path will see it for themselves. They don't need to be reminded of it. They're actively working on it and they're aware of it. But that requires a family of like minded people, the Sangha, and us to recognize our true nature. The Buddha is based on truth, Dharma, the three jewels of Buddhism. Okay. So the Buddha left the woods and went to go find other teachers. When he found other teachers, he would enter the Sangha or the ashram, or whatever you want to call it, church, whatever we call it. And he would study with that teacher and reach the depths of the mind that are available to each one of us, but we choose to not dive into the water. Because our delusion is that there is an alternative path that someone will forge for us. And so we won't have to get wet. That is a great delusion. And unfortunately, most people out here, that's the way they think. And it's funny that the rugged West actually claims to believe what the Buddha did, which is you don't do the work, you don't get the benefit. But what happens in reality is the opposite. People that do the least amount of work get the most benefit. And in their delusional thinking is that that's the right path because they don't know what else is available. They don't know the depths of this tool we have up here, this scanner, this what do I call it? Spectrophotometer of reality we call the mind, which is all it is. Yeah, exactly right. Buddhism is scientifically based. It says look into your own mind and see the most basic of relations between you and what you claim to be, what you see. And once you see that relationship, okay, no one can tell you that you didn't see it unless you want to go to a Nazi prisoner camp and get brainwashed because that's your thing. How can you deny what you see through your own insights? When I look into my mind, I see craving, I see grasping, I see aversion and attraction. I see the seeds of wrong speech that have been planted for lifetimes. I see the seeds of aversion and attraction, but also of what do we call it? Not prejudice. Um, Basically covetousness. Basically covetousness and pride. The poisons of the mind. We call them kleshas in Buddhism. These are the poisons of the mind: ignorance, anger. The reason you hear me stating this basic truth over and over again in different ways, like an artist playing the piano, is because the truth itself is what it is. And in each moment, we're constantly changing. In jazz, it's recognized that I can't play the same thing twice, no matter what. Yeah, greed, corruption. The kleshas are just different versions of those things. Not recognizing your brother as yourself and treating him or her as such. And you may say, I like pain. Treat me bad. Well, we ain't talking about you crazy motherfuckers out here. People that are rational, not you sadomasochistic motherfuckers out here. We ain't talking about you. You guys are in a special class. I don't think most of the world wants to live like that. Okay. So, because I'm saying that for a reason. Some people will say, I want my brother to beat me. I want to be part of that pain. No, I don't think most people want that. Children don't want it. They didn't ask for it. Karmically, they ended up there for reasons beyond our comprehension until we reach a high level of understanding. But when the Buddha entered these different schools, he would enter deep states of meditation. He would go to what we would call bodiless, mindless, uh, egoless states of being through practice and through renunciation, fasting. He would enter these states, the same states that are available to me and you. The Buddha didn't do anything that is not available to each human being. That's why we are all part of the same family. And he noticed that there still was something, some taint of ego that was just persistent. And he would leave the school and not become the teacher or the prize student because that's not what his path was. And basically, when he finally got to the point where he got under the Bodhi tree, he made a commitment and said, "I'm not going to leave this tree until I reach the untethered mind state, the state beyond all states, the origin, root, source of consciousness itself." The same thing available to each one of us, but we have to, label it an ad nauseum, label it and call it a Christian or a Muslim truth or a Buddhist truth. It's just what it is. My real path is to remain patient as I state that, because part of me does not understand why human beings have such trouble with this. And then part of me still understands because that part is still struggling. And that's the understanding and wisdom that allows me to generate compassion. That's how it works. It's no tricks, there's no rabbits out of hats. It's just knowledge and wisdom doing what knowledge and wisdom do. Yeah, these kleshas, these poisons of the mind, this karmic wheel of reincarnation that is driven by ignorance, the Buddhists recognize that it is ageless. It's been around for ageless amounts of time. And so I think Buddhists don't get as excited about sin and all that other stuff because they understand it is the basic state of a human being that is basking and drowning in ignorance. And the ignorance has to be removed through an experiential process. The Buddha went under the tree. He sat there to the point of near death, had his experience, woke up. He became the Buddha, the enlightened one. The little girl gave him some milk because he figured out his physical body just couldn't take no more. He drank the milk from the girl, and this is the source of other profound teachings. The fact that we need a family to help us, a family of human beings. The Sangha. That's why the Sangha is one of the three jewels. On the Buddhist path of enlightenment, he was aided by children with bowls of milk, without which his physical body may have perished and he would not have reached enlightenment. Only the ignorant ignore what's in front of them because of the thought that there's something better or more, whatever. That is a point you have to get to. You know, 5% of the religion in the world. Oh, 10% of the world is Buddhist. I think because Buddhism is something that you can't push onto someone. You can't convert someone to Buddhism. They have to see these truths in their own heart. And the first truths the Buddha spoke about when he first came out of his meditation, he said, "How can I teach people this? I can't talk about this." But his was it 3 or 4 students that had been following him the whole time, the yogis? Maybe it was 4. I think it was 3. Anyway, they begged him, please, like Tathagata, teacher, please don't leave this earth and not share with us your profound truths. And so his heart was moved. The compassion within him moved. He was a Buddha. And he taught the first teaching, the first turning of the wheel of Dharma up until that age. And he taught the Four Noble Truths. Suffering exists, number one. Two, there are causes of suffering based on attachment, delusion, and ignorance. Three, this suffering can come to an end if we follow. Number four, the Eightfold Path. Basically breaks down to right thoughts, right speech, and right actions. But it's 8. It's right view, right understanding, right speech, right actions, right livelihood, right effort, right concentration, and right meditation. So get your mind right, and your mouth right, and your body right, and you will not have to worry about being a righteous person or getting any benefits from a God in heaven or any of that, because you will automatically reach the highest level possible for human beings can attain. You want to call it sainthood, you want to call it Buddhahood, fine. Put a word on it. Words are a waste of time. They're good for what they're good for, nothing else. We speak because it is necessary, because it is a part of this reality. It brings about conditions that can lead to righteous acts or defilements, life or death. The conditions are created in this moment by each one of us, but what we choose to pay attention to. Our mindfulness is the driver of this machine. If I never pay attention to my kids ever, what will happen? They'll shrivel up. They'll become mentally ill, become sad. If you don't pay attention to many things, okay? So this conscious light of awareness that we take for granted is the light that we talk about in Greek literature, is the light that we talk about when we talk about the word knowledge. Lej comes from lekti, which is an ancient Sanskrit word that means light. English, I found out recently, has its origins, ancient origins, in Sanskrit. Know comes from gnosis, which is the recognition thereof. So knowledge, the recognition, the awareness of this self-illumination. So really, knowledge is a word that means a form of enlightenment. Every time we see a little bit of the whole in all of its truth, okay? And any truth is a profound truth. He who saves one life does save the whole world. Okay. Oh, nice. That's so nice. My daughter's gonna like this. When it's rain, I'm listening. Oh, it's for outside? Yeah. That's so cute. The days when I could buy a $20 slide and be satisfied and not need to buy the $500 one, $1,000 one at Six Flags or whatever theme park of your choice. And the funny thing is, you enjoy that one as much as you enjoy the big $100 million ones. There's no difference in that joy. There's no difference. Bliss is bliss, right? Bliss is bliss. God consciousness is God consciousness. The word God and consciousness are both pretty worthless and useless words. Okay, just like the word Buddha is a useless word. The word Dharma is a useless word. There, it's ready now. Oh, nice. You got a bucket. We got the sand. What else we got down here? The good old days when that's all it took to make us happy. That person is still in there. We've just covered that person up with so much ego-based bullshit that you no longer know that person is in there. Unless you be as a child, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. That's what the book says. Unless we can see each moment as an eternal now moment, manifesting all the miraculous miraculous things that consciousness can bring to into existence, which is anything and everything. Unless we see that reality like a child and become that reality, we cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. Yeah, undefined open source enlightenment. Exactly. And each person has enlightenment within them. Each one of us has a light. Knowledge, lekte, Sanskrit, light, self knowledge, self light, self illuminated. That light comes from within us. We don't need anything else to keep it, that spark, glowing. It's always glowing. The spark of awareness is God recognizing him or herself in you. That's all. Either you can accept that or you can't. Oh yeah. Like that. Yeah. Like that. Well, what is this? Oh, a wedge. Yeah, I know about wedges. They help you sleep. You talk about the sleep wedge. I've seen it before. Yeah, you sleep on that wedge and gives you a good angle. Sometimes it supports the back. Yeah, holistic medicine, man. And so that was the first turning of the wheel of Dharma. The Buddha taught his students this truth. Those are the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path. This is the basis of Buddhism. The three jewels of Buddhism: the Buddha, the Sangha, and the Dharma, which is universal truth, manifest in each one of us and within our human, sentient, non-human family. Talk about fractal existence. Talk about fractal truths. Talk about the same truth being stated in a different way, ad infinitum. I could talk about this truth to infinity in different languages, different relationships amongst the elements of it, but it's the same truth. If you can't see that, then there's nothing I can do outside of just maintain my own point of existence and truth, so that when you are ready, it will still be there. This is the Bodhisattva vow. It says, I will maintain this point of truth and light, so that when you finally are ready to let go of the delusion and darkness and the ego-based existence that you crave and love so much, I will maintain this lamp for you throughout all lifetimes until the last point of consciousness and sentience has passed through the gates. People say, "Oh, that's a hell of a vow." The reality that we live in is a hell of a reality. It's infinity expressed in each moment. So why would I match effort with anything less than equal effort if I want to gain the jewel? Christianity states it differently. Eternal life is gained when you recognize eternal life. Period. You can add all the symbols and God's sons and saints and miracles you want to that truth, but that's the truth. How are you going to create this eternal life just out of nothing. Come on, man. Like I don't need to say that, but I need to say it for some people. And the words fall short. They need to experience that reality by going within their own being, because there is no other road. Make no mistake about it. There is no other road to find the truth other than the one within that you keep avoiding because of ignorance, ego, fear, right? Why do I know that? Because I see it in myself. Not because I got to go judge you and hang you on a cross. I see that truth in myself in each moment. The fear, the laziness, right? The delusion, distraction, all those poisons I see in my well. I just choose to dip the some bitches out. Okay. That's it. That's the only difference in me and another person that doesn't choose to do that. And because I'm evidence based, scientific, the recipient of that way of life, when I start dipping and I see things start getting better within myself, why would I why would I throw the dipper back into the well and go choose to go wallow back in the pigsty? Why would I do that? And some of you really actually will ask another human being to do that. Can you fit into my own little square of understanding? Even though you're a star, can you come force yourself to fit into my square mold so that I can feel better about myself? That's what you're asking. You know you're asking that. You understand what I'm saying, but you still do it. Check your motherfucking selves, man. It's just that simple. If you need me to state it in the street language, check your motherfucking self, man. Quit making me have to do it for you and other people in your family and your communities. Check your motherfucking self, man. Is that clear enough? Quit ignoring the suffering of others that look like you or don't look like you, because the source of that suffering is the same: ignorance, attachment, and aversion. Period. When I say something that's not true, somebody stop me and correct me, because that's what the Buddha said. When I'm wrong, go with what's right. So ain't no problem if I'm wrong. Ain't no problem. The system is built with that in it. If I'm wrong, go with what's right. A system that reaches perfection at some point has to have that included in it. This is in computer code. This is what an artificial intelligence is: a self perpetuating, self taught system that doesn't need anything from the outside to correct it. That's built into every grain of nanoparticle in your universe. That truth, because that's what it is. And I'm thankful in my lifetime, I was blessed, namaste, to come across Dharma because of conditions and things that are still beyond my understanding, but the left side of my brain understands them. The right side is slowly coming on board. when I'm teaching this truth, I don't have to talk about any religions, any saints, any requirements, other than the requirement of recognizing truth. Do you guys need me to tell you that that is the path that was here before religions? Do you need me to say it? Because I assume all y'all can understand this, but some people can't. And it's okay. Because I have to remember in my own mind, go back to when I was deluded and when I was lost, because I thought everything was ego based and, you know, do what you got to do, because if you're feeling good, that's what matters. Your own happiness, right? I thought like that once. Not really. Bullshit. I ain't never been that fucked up. But we all have we all have a point that we're trying to grow from. And to recognize that point is each man and woman's life's work. No one's gonna do it for you. There are brothers and sisters on the path that we often piss on and shit on, but they're still gonna maintain. The saints and bodhisattvas will maintain. The once returners will maintain. The stream enterers will maintain. Because truth is what it is. I can hear this from a Christian saint or a Buddhist saint. It does not matter. Living Buddha, living Christ. I can hear it from my chemistry professor as Le Chatelier's principle, which says in chemistry, when you put stress on one side of the system with substrate, the equation naturally balances itself out so that you have substrate and product on each side of the chemical equation that is equal in mass and energy. Did you just hear me state most of the metaphysical truths of all religions in one statement from chemistry? Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. But it's for you to put it all together. All I can do is be an example or a light, as we say in Christianity. I can't, at this level, and even when a guru enters a student's mind, that means that both the guru and the student have gone through all the conditions necessary for that to manifest. It's not going to manifest if all the conditions that are necessary for that to be are present. It will not. That's the law. That's the beauty of this universe. That's the equanimity of this universe. That is the beauty and the balance of this universe. That no one asshole is going to undo it. That is the good news for all of our spiritual traditions. Not just one asshole is going to undo this. And if that doesn't put a smile on your face every moment of the day, then nothing is gonna put a smile on your face. So, all right, man, that's my story teaching of the origins of Buddhism in this age, Shakyamuni, because there's many Buddhas before him, and this goes back way before this Buddha. Okay, each one of us is a saint slash Buddha. So if I say to people I'm a saint and they tell me no you're not, or no they don't say that, they'll say, well, I'm not. Well, okay, if you're not, you're not. If I choose to say I am, then I am. I mean, that's I have to understand ultimate reality through my reality. If I don't choose to be a part of a family that I claim to be a part of, then what am I going to be a bastard adopted, or am I going to eventually recognize that I'm part of that family? I got the DNA test done. Oh, look, I actually am a saint. I actually am a bodhisattva. I actually am a Buddha. I actually am a human being. Out of the mouths of babes is where you will hear the truth, man. Out of the mouths of babes. And you guys keep looking to these sophisticated, slick, willy ass, fast car driving, ego, high IQ having, yacht, and fucking house in the Caribbean having. God forbid I break a fucking toenail today having. I got lots of college degrees, but no insight having. I'm gonna anthropomorphize God until you puke type people to learn from. So that's your own, you know, that's your own You have to decide what truth is. But my suggestion is look inside of yourself first before you look to other people. It says in the Bible, take the beam out of your own eye before you take the one out of your brother's eye. I say recognize the beam in your eye. Life, love, wisdom, compassion. Before you go trying to adjust it in your brother's eye, you know, et cetera, et cetera. To hear Dharma in any lifetime is a blessing. So I look at it as nothing but a blessing to be able to share it with people because a teacher is always a student. A teacher is always a beginner. And the truth is in the pudding. When I sat with my Dharma brother yesterday, that was the closest feeling to heaven as a human being I've ever experienced. There with my family, with him, speaking Dharma, recognizing truth through each other as a mirror, trying to genuinely help through our words, not trying to tear another. Because my brother asked me, he asked me, what do you see in me? What do you see? He asked me that. Christianity says, admit your faults one to another. That's the way it's supposed to work, man. That's the way it's supposed to work, man. You know, I'm nobody special. I'm not even here. This is an empty vessel that is expressing all of reality simultaneously in this point in time. So if I don't recognize myself as an empty vessel, I got problems. That's when the ego steps in. Because there's beauty in form and there's beauty in emptiness, right? I really hope that this blesses somebody, man. This comes from my heart and my mind. Both things in union, okay? And it'll resonate with who it resonates with. It will flick the wick of the candle on who it flicks it on. you know, Impermanence. This body will pass. This mind I have, this form will pass. There's no doubt about that. What matters is what I recognize and bring forth in this moment. That is the future. So ask yourself, what are you bringing forth in this moment? If you want this utopian society that we all claim to want, what are you doing about it? What are you bringing forth in this moment? What are you doing with your own mind and the defilements of your own mind? My insights are just based on the fact that I love and care for other people as much as I love and care for myself. You know, that's all it is. My insights are based on observation and truth. I'm a scientist. I'm not in competition for anybody, with anybody. I appreciate people when they tell me that I'm smart or I'm this, but honestly, this will sound harsh. I don't give a shit about none of that. I'm just being honest with you. Don't give a shit about none of that. When you have tasted the waters of truth, you can't care about any of that. I can't care about where I'm at on the scale next to another person at this point because me and you are the same. That's the insight. We share one mind, right? That appears through some false perception of our own to be separated into all the jewels of Indra's reality, right? Millions or infinite numbers of jewels, each reflecting the other one in its facets. That's what we are. And you need the most basic understanding. My insights are based on experience. That experience, when I see it, it is not ignored. This is what mindfulness is. There is no other way. This is no attempt to be clever. This is no attempt to impress someone who has an IQ that's 2 points higher than mine or 2 points lower. This is simply metaphysics, science, religion, and theology all coming to their point, the point that they have to come to. And many people don't see it that way. Will walk your own road. And the sound of my truth will be resonating in your being after you leave this earth because it has to. And it is wisdom and compassion that motivate me to speak these words. Yeah, the insights of others, that are in our brotherhood, sisterhood, our sangha, that's what the saints do. They let you borrow their insights, their experience, put the breast milk in your mouth until you can eat solid food. Okay, that's what they do. That's what we're here for. Because I include myself amongst my family, my saints, my bodhisattvas. Why would I not? And I ain't here to sing kumbaya and hold hands and shit and throw roses. None of that bullshit. I'm just here to bring sanity to bear. You know, simple compassion and caring altruism. Just bring it to bear. Perfect it and polish it to its ultimate, ultimate fruition. That's it. That's how I got in my life where I'm at. Just polishing a stone. Somebody asked a saint one time, or it was actually a monk. Say, "What are you doing?" He's just polishing this rock. You know, he's like, "What are you gonna do with that rock? Are you polishing it?" He's like, "You can no more polish that rock into a jewel than you can make yourself into a Buddha." Ooh, ooh. A lot of y'all just polishing rocks, and you like it, and it's fun. But there's work to be done. There is a realization that is beyond science and philosophy and religion to explain or give to you. If you want the tool and the keys on how to get it, people are out here, man. People are out here. Like Indra's net. We're all one jewel in an infinite net, reflecting each other for all of infinity. So you can go to any jewel in the net and get the truth. I'm just one jewel in the net. You're one jewel. If you are, if you're not, then you're not. As simple as that. I mean, so you can go read whatever books you want on Buddhism. You're gonna hear what I stated in a more elaborate, drawn out way. But the teachers of Dharma out here, we always cover the basics because we're always a beginner. We're always a beginner. We're always a baby. We're always learning at each moment. We're trying to not be ego based. Okay, not be based everything be based on competition and a measuring stick of me against everyone else. I'm looking at my own truth and doing based on my own efforts the best I can do in each moment. That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. That means when I finally come across my brothers and sisters, the light shines even brighter, man. Two lights, the intensity, whoo. Exactly. The finish line is the starting line. 100%. There's nowhere to go except this one infinite point of now. Where are you going to go, man? Where are you going to run to? Death is a part of this process. Nothing to be feared. Where are you going to go, man? The five senses are just like a drug. That there's a deeper reality, a core of consciousness that goes beyond words and senses. Where are you going to go, man? I mean, the highest level of expression of your being is hidden within you. And many people refuse to go look for it and do the work that our ancestors gave us and told us was necessary: fasting, prayer, altruism, brotherly love, wisdom, and compassion. The basic work they told us we needed to do to uncover this mystery that we call the human mind, the consciousness. And people can sit and contemplate it all they want and talk about it all they want. The only important question is where each person is in each moment on getting rid of their defilements and the delusions that cloud the mind. Yoga is a system about preventing the modifications of pristine mind, the one that was present at the origins of our being, that has now been covered with layers and layers of karma and ego and delusion. How do you undo that? Hear truth, manifest truth, live truth, meditate on truth, eat, chew, digest, poop out truth. Look, look, look. Honestly, it's not pretty. Nobody cares. Look, notice it. Take note, because there was a solution to that problem. But until you see the problem, you can have no solutions. Am I not correct? Some of y'all need to understand and realize a little bit of pain and suffering ain't gonna kill you. Like y'all, a lot of y'all are just really just babies, man, and a lot of y'all is just so scared of anything that looks like something different than what you're used to. That is a huge stumbling block on the spiritual path. Jesus went out there and starved himself to death in the desert. The Buddha went under a tree, damn near died from starvation. Man, do you see the Dalai Lama talks about this? Do you see the effort that it really takes working on self to break through? Good. Once you really see it, you can stop fooling ourselves into thinking that it'll take any more or any less. We'll just do what's appropriate in each moment, which includes being one, being a whole I, and not one that's split up all the time, and recognizing that in each one of my fellow sentient beings, and in the very backdrop that I exist in, it's all connected. It's all one thing. Consciousness was here before the foundations of the universe was even laid. It's it's not an epiphenomenon. it's the, it's the very basis on which the matter is in this universe is built. So if you want to go study something that's upstream, then you'll do that. But sooner or later, when you're not quenched, your thirst is not quenched, you don't feel satisfied, you'll find the path that I'm talking about on your own. I don't have to worry about that. Suffering itself is the great motivator. And all of y'all that think y'all living posh and plush, it's coming for you. Okay? Death, old age, and sickness. What did the Buddha see that motivated him to push deeper and further? Old age, sickness, and death. None of us will escape it. If that suffering is built into the machine, and I'm telling you that there is a path that leads to that suffering ending, why would you not want to know what that path is? Except for pure ignorance, pure ego, pure selfishness. I could think of other words, but why would you not want to be of the highest benefit to every human being that comes across your path in this life? Who wouldn't aspire to that if they claim to be a righteous person? Every person that you meet is a jewel cutter. There's a reason I said jewel cutter. If every person you came across was a jewel cutter with that precision, with dealing with matters of the heart and mind, you don't want to experience that earth, that reality? Is that not worth everything you have, every fiber of your being, to bring that reality into this existence? Is that not the work of the saints and bodhisattvas? Then, if that's the purpose for our existence, there should be no problems. There's just ego in the way, mask that we wear, persona that the Greeks talked about, we all wear. And when you break through that, this pristine point of consciousness will be sitting there like a jewel, like a sun, waiting for you to experience it. So there's no problem. Do whatever you need to do, suffer however much you need to suffer for you finally to turn your face towards the light, towards the truth, and start embodying the truth and not just reading it and speaking it or intellectualizing it, which is what the West does with our left brain approach towards truth. It requires the heart and the mind to be one. Namaste, man. I'm out. Peace.